a couple years ago, I participated in the October Art Challenge and was pretty successful with getting through all the month worth of prompts, and I ended up making a whole bunch of stickers from these, like almost all of them I made stickers from, and so that was fun to have a source of all of those. So I really did, instead of just sketches, I really tried to do, some nice illustrations for these, and had a lot of fun with it. Took a lot of time, but I want to this year do something similar, to revisit the idea of doing a daily October art challenge with a few tweaks. This book is very large, and while it was nice to do the illustrations that large, I prefer working larger, and it's nice to shrink them down and make a nice sticker or illustration from those. It takes a lot of space. It does not really fit on my bookcase, and that is a little bit of an issue. So one thing I'm going to do is work smaller this year. I also do not have the same amount of time to devote, so while I want to have nice finished illustrations, I'm going to give myself a little more time to do them. So I've chosen my sketchbook, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the first thing I did was to just sit down and kind of do a brain dump of prompt ideas, and then kind of picked from those. I made a list of 31 animals, and then also a list of 31 kind of more random words, I guess. So printed out that list, stuck it in this sketchbook, which is a Strathmore mixed media sketchbook. It's actually one of my favorites to work in, except that it doesn't lay real flat. But otherwise, I love the paper, whether it's soft cover or hard cover. Either way, I do like these sketchbooks. So that's what I chose to use. I've been saving this for a while for a special project, and this is it. So my plan for this is on the left side of the spread, of each spread, to do my sketches and ideas and just kind of general layout for my intentions of what to do for the illustration, just to get some ideas figured out. And then on the right side, I will do my actual finished illustration. Now I'm opting to use the two words together. You could use each list separately, and this list is available over on my Patreon page. It is free though. All you have to do is go over there and get that if you would like it. And so I have two lists. One is the animal, and then the other list, and these are numbered 1 through 31. And then I have another list that is my extra words, also numbered 1 through 31. So you could use one list or the other list separately, or you can combine them as I am and pick having a word from each list. I'm just, because it's more of a challenge, just doing like this is number 1 on both lists, and it's the words are mouse is the animal, and the word is stripes. So I'm combining those two into this illustration. Another way you could do it if you wanted to use both words would be to just go through the animals, but then do your own matching with the word on the right side with the second word. But I like the challenge of just kind of being assigned a combination, so I'm going to go with that. So I generally have the best luck going with kind of my first idea, which in this case was a mouse wearing striped clothing. So that was kind of the theme for the sketches. And moving on to the next one here, because I want to get several sketches done ahead before October even starts, so that I can really start in on my actual illustrations. So this one was fox and mushroom. So I first had the idea of a fox sitting amongst a lot of mushrooms, like in a wooded area. And then I kind of had the little crazy idea of some mushrooms growing off of the back of the fox, which I thought could be kind of an interesting idea. This poor little fox has really stubby legs here at the bottom of the page. But so then I can go back to that later and make more final decisions. This one is goose and scarf. So obviously the goose is going to be wearing a scarf. First thing that comes to mind. I haven't decided, like I could do a goose like more of a close-up that has more scarf featured, or I could do a full body goose where the scarf's going to be a little bit smaller than in the illustration. I'm still kind of thinking if there's some other ways I want to bring a scarf in. Just even as I'm looking at this now, I'm thinking about what about a clothesline in the background that had some scarves hanging on it, or, you know, that type of thing. So just giving some time and space for those ideas to percolate as I'm working through my inspiration side of the page. I also have decisions to make with these animals, like what kind of goose is this? Is this like a white Charlotte's Web style goose, or is this a Canadian goose? I did recently see in Minnesota a whole lot of Canadian geese, so that's kind of on my mind, and it seems fitting for a northern goose to be wearing a winter scarf, you know, to be a little bit more bundled up. So all kinds of things there to think about and decide. Also just like trying to figure out here, what is the shape of a goose's beak? So just figuring out some anatomy of some of these animals and simple ways to represent those. I'm just itching to put some watercolor to this Strathmore mixed media paper because it does receive the watercolor pretty nicely. I like the absorbency, I guess, of it. So I was just itching to get some watercolor onto the page. I pulled out this Sennelier watercolor palette that I have had for years, but has been packed away for probably a couple years, and I just recently got it found and in use again. I'll be doing a little video on that soon, but for now I'm just having a little play with it and kind of reacquainting myself with its use and thinking about how I want to do these illustrations, like as far as color scheme and such. I'm really thinking that my finished illustrations, well, they'll probably be mixed media because that's just how I do things, but I'm thinking maybe primarily gouache and go that route with them because I really like the look. That's what I did those Peachtober ones a couple years ago that I showed you in the intro, and I really like how those ended up, so I think maybe that's the route I'll go. I have not decided yet whether it be traditional gouache or acrylic gouache, and it may change up by each page. I don't know. I'm trying to have enough rules to have a challenge and some structure without being so rigid that it becomes a stressful chore. So I want there to be some room for play and experimentation as I do this. I was kind of undecided which direction the stripes should go, so I tried them vertically and here horizontally. I think I'm just in general really liking this little mouse that I'm painting right now. I like his little face, and a little cartoony without being, overly so. And just playing with some watercolor shading here, like how much shading do I want. Just making some of those decisions of the directions I'm going to head with this. I also, down in the lower left corner, had the idea of a mouse kind of wrapped up in like a striped towel or cape or little hooded blanket type thing. Not sure I like it as well, but it was kind of a fun little idea to explore. I'm also numbering my pages so that I remember. I'm going to put both the number, the date, and the name, the two prompt words, on each page as well, so it's real easy for me to see. I don't have to keep flipping back when I go to do the actual illustrations. This page is my fox mushroom page, so I'm kind of painting in these fox illustrations that I've done. I've done basically like 3 different poses here, and I'm kind of undecided which way it should go. I'm not super happy with the composition of them, but it does give me ideas of how I want to continue in my actual illustration. I'm using one of my favorite pens, the Pentel brush pen there, which makes very bold lines. I thought maybe they were a little too bold, so I switched to this Schneider pen. It's advertised more for like check writing, but I really like it as it's one of my staple art supply pens because it is a rollerball gel pen, but is permanent. I think it's advertised as not smearing, when you're writing, which is really nice. It also doesn't smear when you watercolor over it, so it's a really great pen. I like the size of it. I think it's maybe like a 0.5 or something like that. I've gone through many of these. I buy them by the box because I use them so much, and I pretty much always have one in my to-go sketchbook kit, and so I'm making use of it here. You also see me kind of playing around with border ideas, like how do I want to do a border. It's a little bit tricky because I do want these to at least have the potential of working as stickers as well. So I'm kind of trying to keep that in mind on my border. So I've still got some thinking to do about that. Just playing around with adding some stripes on the word stripes, just because it's fun. Going back to my Pentel brush pen here to do this goose with the scarf page, and this time I'm using the pen first before the watercolor. I really like using waterproof pens for this. The Pentel brush pen comes with waterproof ink cartridges, which is one of the things I love about it. Very easy to use and nice to watercolor on top of. As I mentioned, that Schneider pen also has that quality of being waterproof, and also I sometimes use micron pens, which are also waterproof. So I like the flexibility of being able to ink either before or after the watercolor. Adding the black really makes these look like Canadian geese, and just trying to keep the design pretty simple, but I think it's pretty clear what kind of geese these are, and it seems fitting for the idea of them being northern geese. Makes me kind of itch to do a loon or something like that also, but settled for now for my geese with scarves. As I mentioned, these pages don't lay real flat, which I could use a clip, but they lay flat enough. But I usually work with them a little bit to just kind of bend back that binding and really kind of force them to open all the way. And once you do that, they're much better. But initially, when you first get them, they feel like they don't open real well. So that's my tip if you decide to use this kind of book. Just really work with it and get the binding kind of loosened up to start with. The prompt for this one was bear and library. So, of course, I immediately think of a bear reading books in a library. Also think of some things like a bear as a librarian, or maybe putting books away in the library, or even outside of a library, or all kinds of things. But for now, I'm just working on some illustrations of a bear sitting in the library enjoying some books, and just trying to think, how do I want to represent that library? Books on shelves seems like the simplest thing. Is this a library like a home library or a school library? Are there other things sitting on the shelves, like vases, things like that? Here I am kind of working on some of those border ideas. I still haven't totally worked out how I want to represent those borders, or how much they'll match throughout the different illustrations, or whether just having some sort of border will be what I go with. So a bear in a different pose. Again, I'm kind of trying to figure out how do I want to draw, especially the face on these bears. Cartoony or illustrative is fine. I'm not after realism on these. I am more after these just being kind of cute and fun little illustrations. But I also want it to be recognizable as a bear. I'm really enjoying using this Blackwing pencils. I have a couple of them here that I'm using. I just sharpen them both and have them both handy, so I don't have to stop to sharpen as often while I got the thoughts flowing. I don't want that little interruption. These are fairly soft. I think maybe like 3B. I'm not positive. I know there's lots of different Blackwing pencils. This one is from the Beatles collection. I think has like Beatles song lyrics on it. And then I also have some that are like the matte black, only they're green. And so those two I both really like and use a lot. As I get into the journal, a little more pages in, or into the sketchbook rather, I'm really working with that the page to get the spread to open flat. Again, if you work with it, they will get open flat, but that does require a little bit of effort. So I'm really working on that bound edge there in the center of the spread, getting that to lay flat. The prompt for this day is rat and paint, and I'm not for sure how I'm going to make the rat look different than the mouse. I'm thinking maybe these ended up pretty mousy looking, but I'm thinking maybe a longer nose. Let me know if you know how to make a rat look different than a mouse. And then this one is cat and pie, which of course I'm thinking Thanksgiving's coming up, not too far off, and I am thinking of pumpkin pie here, so I made a little gray kitty to contrast with a orange pumpkin pie, but maybe I'll play around with an orange cat or a black cat, or lots of different kinds of cat choices. This cat, I'm not too happy with that little sketch, but he's holding a blueberry pie. So not sure which direction I'll go with that. I've got some more room for prompts coming along here. Going back to this rat and adding some paint to it. I'm coming off of several months of pretty intense art making. I had mini gallery shows this year, and a few of them were overlapping, so I made lots of art, lots and lots of new art this year. And while I really enjoy that, it also is feeling very fun to just have some little playtime in my sketchbook, not have to worry about how these turn out. At least this my little sketch side here that I'm working on now. I'll be a little bit more serious about my other side, although, you know, I'm still not as much pressure as, you know, a piece of wall art. So, very fun project here, and just some nice time to just kind of loosen up and relax and have a good sketchbook play. That's pretty much why I'm spending as much time as I am on these little, the sketch side of the page. Again, no need to go through all of this with the sketches, but it does kind of just get me warmed up back in the groove of doing some just little sketchbook play sessions, and relaxing and loosening up and warming up and all of that good stuff that happens when we play in our sketchbooks. I also really like playing around with different fonts, like hand-drawn fonts. I'm not so much a calligrapher, but I do like drawing different style letters and different words. And the best way to improve at that is just to practice. So whenever I am writing words in something, I just practice, like there's kind of a particular style that I'm doing these words in for the most part through this so far. It's just a good place to always be experimenting with styles that you like. These turn up in my Patreon digital collage sheets that I have every month for all my paid tiered patrons receive digital collage sheets to print out and use as they wish in their planners or sketchbooks or journals or whatever, and are just fun to use. So I've done a bit of prep work. Eventually I hope to have sketches for the entire month before I do the illustrations, but and then also I plan to, whatever stickers I make from these, which will hopefully be the case, I will put on this cover. And here's a look at my preparation so far for this. So I like to get a few days ahead. I've done my sketches, and actually my sketches probably won't all be quite this fancy, but I just was excited to get going, and so went ahead and watercolored and everything. Sometimes my sketches might be just a pencil sketch. Fine with that. One difference from my previous October art challenge is that I'm including the sketches and the finished result in the same sketchbook, because I think that'll be kind of nice to have. This paper is nice enough quality that it doesn't really bleed through, so I don't think that'll be an issue. So I have the first view kind of developed, and even a sketch made for my final idea, or at least started. I kind of want to do some kind of nice border on these, so I'm still kind of playing with that idea. Got some different ideas. I try to do more than one idea so I can make choices over here. That may or may not always happen. So far so good though. And so I'm kind of looking at maybe being influenced by some Art Nouveau style borders. I'm kind of interested in those. So that's something I will need to be developing as my border idea still for these. So I'll be playing with that. But have some sketches started. Plan to do some more. But this kind of gives me a jump start and just kind of helps me on my way to success. Probably most likely they will end up being primarily, pencil sketches and not super well developed over here while I do my more developed painting to the side. So that gives me about a third of the days though. I've got a sketch done for already before the month starts. So that'll just really help me. The other thing is I'm cutting myself some slack and not intending to get these all done in October. I'm going to take at least 2, if not 3 months, because I want to, do some nice illustrations out of this, and I know I have some busy times ahead. Have a wedding in the family and moving and all kinds of other things happening. So gonna try to be realistic about what I can accomplish and keep it fun and enjoyable and not stressful. So that's my October Art Challenge plans. Let me know if you have some plans as well. You can find the prompt list on my Patreon, free for all members, free members included. So pop over there and find the prompt list if you want to participate in this with me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.